Our oldest child, Dan, passed away a few years ago. Dan had Down syndrome. He had a wonderful life, a life full of friends, family, and his job at Microsoft. He worked there 14 and a half years. His job made his life so very typical. At his birth in 1968, we were asked to institutionalize him, and we chose differently. But at his birth, never did we dream that he would have a real job as an adult. Jobs allow our folks to contribute, to be part of their community, and to teach others about abilities, not just disabilities. Over 19 years ago, King County Developmental Disabilities Division offered me a 6-month grant to organize parents in King County. O'Neill and Associates agreed to launch my job for the first few years. In addition, I have served on the Washington Initiative for Supported Employment Board of Directors. I am telling you this because I've had a good vantage point to observe education and training of professionals working with individuals with developmental disabilities. Teachers, case managers, home support staff, employment specialists. It is so important for these people to have specific training and specific education in order to work successfully with our sons and daughters. Washington State leads the nation in the number of individuals with developmental disabilities who have good jobs. The cost-effective teaching and education we have here is a key ingredient to this success. Thanks.
We reap the benefits of their training, certainly in terms of the people that from supportive employment that are working with us. Through Project Search, we're working with those folks at Eastside Employment and really have seen how much they care about the people that they're trying to place, as well as care about the business to make sure that they're doing the best thing for us. I think the other thing is with some of the trainings that WISE is doing, and talking specifically about the leadership conference last year and really trying to develop leaders in this field. I mean, how do you get folks invested in wanting to help people with disabilities? It's a bit of a challenge. Face it, the pay isn't great. You really have to have a passion for this. And I really appreciated being at that conference myself and seeing that you're really trying to say, okay, you guys, we need to step out and do something a bit different. When that was sort of exciting. And lastly, talking specifically about the work of O'Neill and Associates, if it wasn't for them, I don't know that Children's Hospital would be working with folks with disabilities to the extent that we are, helping us navigate a very, very, you think healthcare is complex. Well, your system is incredibly complex. I'm really understanding how our business works as well and saying we need to do what's good for the business as well as what's good for the employee.
I'm very interested in the possibility of expanding, in addition to maintaining, but really expanding training and professional development opportunities for individuals that work supporting people who have developmental disabilities. It's an interesting problem because these are individuals who really can contribute to our community. We tend to think of them as consumers of services, and as all human beings, they really have much they can contribute. And we need to identify that and recognize that so they can be part of our economic recovery and economic development in general, where individuals move from simply consuming services to really demonstrating capacities that would be overlooked without the proper training and professional development. And I would really hope that our legislatures would be well informed about what this means and to see what people with developmental disabilities can do in competitive employment.
Washington State leads the nation annually in support employment outcomes, and supported living models in our state are nationally recognized as state-of-the-art. If you look at the David Braddock report from the University of Colorado, I think 2008 is the latest edition. Even though we're 39th in public funding, our outcomes are nationally ranked. I don't think we get there without the role of technical assistance providers in our community service system. Technical assistance providers are the repository of best practices, collective knowledge of all the community best practices, and they are shared through technical assistance such that all the communities across Washington can benefit from what we've learned from the east side and the west side, small counties, large counties. I believe when the budgets are put together for community services for developmental disabilities, that technical assistance should be not thought of as an add-on or an afterthought, but should be thought of as part of the package of community services, just as a private company or business has R&D always built into their annual budget, research and development. We need to have technical assistance that keeps us moving forward, discovering the best practices to serve people with the most significant disabilities, and you just can't separate that from the services that we do in the community.
The role of training is so essential for our staff. They have to have some general training about the field, and then they have to have very specific training on the people they work with. And the people we work with change over the years, just like we all do. And so someone who starts out very independent, maybe working and living fairly independently, may eventually need more support to live on their own. When that happens, we adjust our services, and in order to adjust our services, we have to train our staff again to respond to the changing needs.
I think that continued education is a really valuable thing for what we do for a couple of different reasons. One is just the collaboration that it promotes. For each one individual that we work with, there are a whole series of different organizations that they work with. And when we get together for trainings and continued education, it gives us a chance to collaborate together, which in the long run saves time, saves money, and helps our services be more effective. The second reason is just because it gives us more tools in our tool belt. I often joke with those I work with that we do the jobs of psychologists and teachers, but we don't have the background or training in either. And so it's very valuable when we go get those trainings and continued education, because we feel like we have the tools to do what we do well. Not having that sort of resource to go to kind of puts what we do in a more perilous position. So having that extra tool in my tool belt helps me be more confident and effective in my job.
My grandson has had very unsuccessful history of being able to work because of the types of jobs that were given to him. However, in the past 2 years, Nathaniel has successfully worked for 2 full years and more, and there was nobody more proud than when he was able to tell to people he had his first 2 weeks paid vacation. That made him feel like everyone else. And I can't thank O'Neill Associates more than what I have already. One of the other things I would like to emphasize is the real importance of these coaches, that their training is sufficient enough to know how to interact and to intercede when there is a crisis. He's had some ups and downs on it, but they've been able to work him through that. And that is so important. Without that, he would not be on his job, and I know that.
We've appreciated the training and support that we have with our job coach. It helps provide a seamless transition for the students as they, transition from our public school system into the adult community. And many of the parents have a lot of trouble navigating the system. It's very, very complicated. And our job coach, because of the training, has learned how the systems operate. And this is essential because it can mean the difference between a student having a successful career or having nowhere to go and the family having no resources.
Times are changing for us right now, and we're taking a close look at education and training in the field of long-term care. And one of the things that I have greatly appreciated is the work that O'Neill & Associates has done, because the way they do their training and education is they really look at what is best, what creates the best outcomes, and really what creates the best life for people with developmental disabilities, and does it in such a positive manner and looks at so many different components of their life. The training of this is very valuable. My wife and I, it's easily the best training we've ever taken because it actually is real life. We take what we learn from there and apply it immediately to our life. Every caregiver I've sent to it, they take that and they walk away from it feeling that, yes, this is training that applies to what I do. It applies to the people I work with and support in the community. And in turn, I think so much promotes their quality of life. Without that, I feel that we will fall back. And right now, we must continue moving forward.
We have a unique industry that we're involved with that experiences a high degree of turnover, and there is also an ever-growing need for the services that we provide and will continue to grow in the future. Without these kinds of opportunities to train staff, we will be left in the lurch. Having them available on an ongoing basis and recurring basis allows us to make sure that all of our staff are properly trained. With 50% attrition in the course of a year, you can imagine the need for ongoing training availability. We have one instance I can think of where we needed to send 3 staff through training. It would have been $1,500 apiece. Was free to our agency through the State Technical Assistance Program. And that's just for training in order to be able to support one challenging individual. Because we're not here to make money, we're here to support folks.